they're lovely to look at, lovely to work with. Not as ugly as Texels, not as wild as Blackies.
Yeah.
They're like a big Labrador, basically.
Schmallenberg.
More than 50% of the losses are showing signs of Schmallenberg.
What part of that do you want to break down?
If they're vasectomised, does the stuff still come out?
Okay.
Oh,
Does
let me-
Pizza
Can I
Hut
just
still
ask,
exist?
why would you have a salad if you went to a
That's
pizza
why,
No,
it's stuck, that's why it's stuck in my
because
head.
no,
I
there's
thought what a
nothing
random
best.
thing what a random thing to be good at, a pizza place. That's one of my best ones. That's
Cut.
oh
Cut.
God.
Welcome to the podcast where we're harvesting humor, planting delight. Join us, Iona and Cammy. Let's have some fun. It's time for Fed by Farmers.
Hello and welcome to the Fed by Farmers podcast with me, Cammy Wilson.
And me, Iona Murray.
We are coming to you this week from inside some sort of hospital facility or a police station. Definitely some sort of public sector kind of warehouse.
Cold.
How would you describe it?
Cold,
Clinical.
unwelcoming.
Unwelcome. And that's just the company. It's like very clinical. It is a porter cabin that I got. It's on the farm, and we're going to use it for podcasting. We'll get the back. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll get the back all done with the grass that we have at the
Paneling.
office and the Fed sign and all this stuff, and get the lighting better and all this kind of stuff. That is the plan. Now, before we get into this week's podcast, covering a very serious topic, who do we have to thank?
We have to thank Herdwatch and Crystalix.
Yes, thank you to both Herdwatch and Crystalix for supporting the podcast. That allows us to get it to you guys every week. And occasionally, we do the odd Friday one as well. Now, Herdwatch, of course, is the livestock management app. Do check it out. You arable boys and girls can check it out as well. You can map fields and all that, check acreage. And
Cool. Maybe I'll get it.
yeah, I like mapping I map loads of fields just to see acreage and then like I price up how much to lime that field, and then I find out how much it actually is, and I'm like, oh no, don't bother then. But it's just nice to know the acres of different bits of ground. Obviously, if you own your own farm, you probably know all your acres already, but still good to have.
Yeah, like some of our farm, like field names are just their acres. Like we've
Oh,
got
is it?
like the 10 acre, the 15 acre, 6 acre.
Yeah, that'll be pretty common, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be pretty common. I'm trying to think field names of like the farm I grew up in. Every field had a name.
Yeah, that's the same as ours.
But you said they were all like an actual name.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
so the majority do. We've
Ah,
got
right.
like the home, the glebe, the horse park, the hen field, the field below the shed, but now there's no shed there.
Oh, but it's still called the field
Yeah.
below the shed.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Yeah, ours is all like, yeah.
What were your ones?
Oh,
What
like-
did you have?
It's God, when you actually think about it, there's a bit of history to all of them.
Yeah.
There's like, Chapel Hill, Hill of Caprington, Thornhill, Laputa, Todd Riggs.
That's funny, Laputa, the house you bought was Laputa Place.
Yeah, but Laputa, I think Laputa was a mine or something
Oh, was it?
round about that era, because the field Laputa
Nearby.
is just over the back of where
Right.
that house was. So, Laputa must be an old mine in Kilmarnock or around that area. But yeah, they've all got Town End, all sorts of different. I'm just thinking all the different names.
Yeah.
Malice Hill, yeah, all these field names. I don't know the history of them, but there will be a.
But then how does then the next farmer who buys it, how do they know all the names?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, obviously you can write them all on the map, but
yeah.
well, it's like I don't know the names of the two fields I've bought.
Oh yeah, that's sad.
I need to ask Jim actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should ask Jim. I'm not sure what they're called. I just call it the front field. I've only got two wee fields. It's easy. It's easy. The front field and the back field. That's all. And ironically, the front field is at the back of the house and the back field's at the front of the house, because the house is kind of awkward the way it sits. But yeah, anyway, that's enough about us. Let's talk about this week's guest. This week we have Michael Goldie on from Harpercroft, Suffolk's. Him and his mum run the Suffolk flock there, and they had an absolute disaster at lambing time.
Yeah.
They were hit bad with Schmallenberg, which is, for anyone who doesn't know, we talk about it in the podcast, but just to tee it up a bit, it's a midge-borne virus, so the midgie, it's like a little small fly, carries this. If it bites the ewe or the cow at a certain time of gestation, it then impacts the lamb and they're born deformed, the joints are all seized. It's absolutely horrific. You need to rip lambs out in different bits and snap bones, and quite often the lambs come out alive, but all deformed. Like the whole thing is absolutely horrific. It's kind of similar, if you imagine it, to the Zika virus, which was talked about before the Rio Olympics, which was an issue in South America and affected humans. Kind of same idea. You get bitten and it can cause this deformity. So particularly prevalent in earlier lambing flocks because they're tupping nearer the summer where there is midges around.
Yeah.
And that's how they've been affected. So without further ado, I think we'll just dive in and hear Michael's story.
Let's do it.
Here we go.
Okay, and we're here with Mr. Michael Goldie. Would you refer to yourself as Michael Goldie from the Harpercroft flock, or what would you like to be known as?
Whatever you want to call me, Cammy.
Well, you could be an NFU representative, or you could be a simple sheep farmer from Ayrshire, or...
I think I'm a bit of everything, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because spend quite a lot of time doing both, to be honest.
Yeah. And you're all over the news just now. You're very...
Topical.
Topical.
Yes.
What's that all about?
Well, we obviously got hit by Schmallenberg at lambing this year, which was a major disaster for us. And I decided that I should probably, in the role that I perform as an NFU Group Secretary for the Wigtonshire branch and an NFU Mutual man, speak up about it and raise some awareness of it and just get it out there that it's here. It's likely to be here for a wee while from what's happened down south, and just try and bring some awareness. That's the main reason why I spoke up and said something.
And what is it?
Schmallenberg, midge-borne disease which infects lambs 20 days to 50 days after conception in the mother's womb, causing major deformities in the lambs when they come to be born.
Okay.
It can range from light touches. So some of my friends and colleagues that are in the industry have had sort of 5-10% losses, all the way up to 60-70% losses in terms of the lambs that are born. And then obviously the knock-on effect to the ewes from having had deformed lambs or sickly lambs inside them, or you lamb them and then they've got no lamb and they've just got to go in the field and full milk. And
So how much has that impacted you?
significantly. I'll be honest, I've kind of given up counting because I'd hoped that the first batch was going to be the only batch, but as it turns out, the second and third batches have had it as well. So the last lamb that was born 2 weeks ago had Schmallenberg. It was a big single tup lamb out of a gimmer that I won at Stranraer Show, Dalrymple Show, the club show. It was a C-section, left leg straight, right leg completely deformed, and basically I had to put it down, sadly, because it just couldn't get up.
And how long has it been in the UK for?
I think I would be right in saying 2011 it first came over, but in speaking to some of my Suffolk sheep breeding friends in the south, there's kind of it's a bit of a big spike the last couple of years. I don't quite know whether it got to an area where there were more livestock and previously it was further south, but it seems to have gone on the rise. And since I went public, lots of people have come forward and said to me, we've had it. People in Northern Ireland, people in England, people in Scotland. I know that and some of the stuff that's been publicised since I went public and the interviews I've done, and the chief vet the other day saying there's been 5 confirmed cases in Scotland. There's multiple places have had it. It's just because they haven't had the lambs tested or the ewes tested that they can't say for sure. But from what I'm hearing, it's fairly widespread, certainly in the early lambing flock.
And is it breed specific, or will it affect all?
Any sheep or cattle.
It affects cows as well.
Does it?
Yeah,
Affects
cows, that's a
cattle.
real disaster. Well, sheep's a disaster too, but
Yeah.
like cows, like a big
Oh,
calf.
well, how do you get the calf
Well,
out?
the Schmallenberg thing, as Michael's kind of touching on there, is like the joints kind of fuse in awkward positions, so you can't pull the lamb out. That's like saying a C-section, so that was a caesarean on that sheep, as quite often they are, especially big. Your Suffolks, big, strong Suffolk lambs. You know what they're like when they come out. They're hard to get out regardless. But when their
If
joints,
their
are
joints
solid,
out, or
and that's the bother. Like,
and are they dead at that point?
No.
So they'll come.
No.
Yeah.
And that was the hardest bit, the whole thing. That you're pulling out live lambs and then you have to put them down.
Yeah.
That was the hardest bit, bar nothing.
yeah.
And what can you do for it?
Nothing. There's a vaccine, but because the early lambing flock forms such a small proportion of the UK flock of sheep, there's no commercial demand for it. So the drug companies are just not interested in making it. So your only solution is effectively breed out with what the midge breeding season is, or the midge living season.
Right. Okay.
So the midges have to be about at tupping time.
Right.
Or
Okay.
shortly thereafter.
So
that's why,
delaying
like,
it, that's
you'll never,
why
you'll
if
never
we're
heard of
tupping
it
in
in the
November,
blackies,
no.
because it'll just never happen. I'm not saying never, because never say never, but it's very,
Yeah.
especially in Scotland, you're very unlikely.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that sort of surprised quite a few people. It's come, like, as I said, that ewe that was lambed 2 weeks ago. So what are we now? It would have been middle of February, roughly.
Yeah, yeah.
So she'd have been tucked 5 months ago, which put it
September time, something like that, just late September.
late September, October time. So the midges must have been about at Harpercroft into mid-October at least.
We did have a good back end.
Yeah.
It was good.
I wonder if things like this we'll see. Do you know, I feel like in certain things in farming we're seeing as going back to how things used to be. Like there's that with the regenerative movement and thing, and sort of working with. I wonder if we'll see a turn and sort of going back to more native breeds.
Well, I mean, in fairness, Suffolk is a native. It would be a native
To
breed.
Scotland.
Suffolk. Oh, good point. Well, to Scotland, okay, but to the UK, I suppose, as a whole. But I think more an argument, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I would say there's more of an argument to just lamb in April
Yeah.
and just avoid the tup lamb job. Or
So how does the sheep cycle work? Does she how does it work? Does she come into
Well, traditionally Suffolks have been earlier breeders anyway.
yeah.
But do
like
they just come into season once? Like, is it monthly or?
Oh, I mean, blackies would probably tup in the summer. Like if you left a tup, I'm sure that there's plenty of cases. In fact, there's somebody. I think it was Stevie Guild. Maybe was it Stevie Guild? Sorry if it wasn't you, Stevie. Someone put a picture up of a lamb being born just a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was a blackie. So like if a tup lamb is left in with the ewes, they will tup.
But so is it? Obviously humans we're one every month we go through a cycle. Are sheep the same
That's every 17 days when they're cycling.
through the whole year, or surely does it stop?
No, there'll be certain times where she's not in season.
So
but
she's not lambing in the
if that-
winter.
But every ewe is different. You'll get some freak sheep like that particular example that
Yeah, sorry, I'm just meaning what's the norm, like humans
Every 17
was
days.
17 days.
for
When-
6
when-
months or.
Well, it just depends kind of when.
I think if she's not in lamb, it could potentially be all the time, but
Aye.
they'll
You
be
think-
more fertile in the winter. I think the tups are certainly more fertile in the winter.
But
I
is
know
that
that.
because the females are in season?
Yeah, is it all work together? I mean, nature does have it. Nature has it away so that the lamb in the spring when the fresh grass is there to produce milk and rear the young.
Yeah.
So yeah, there will be sheep won't cycle until the back end, which is why people would let tup lambs run with their mothers for a while because they don't expect, it's just a freak thing that sometimes it happens. But with Suffolks, Texels, Swarbles, these breeds that go traditionally early, Suffolks go a lot earlier than Texels actually generally. Charlies would be closer to Suffolks.
Yeah,
But usually use cedars or sponges
correct.
to synchronise the ewes, so that unnaturally brings them into season all together at the same time to keep your lambing tight, and then you would put a tup in or AI or all these kind of things.
Yeah.
So
The
there is a wee bit of jiggery pokery with
There's
it.
a wee bit, but if you do their diet properly, flush them in grass,
Yep.
the sponges would probably give you like 95% success of bringing everything into season at the same time. You're probably looking at 75-80% just by diet, feeding and flushing and grass
Yeah.
of a Suffolk.
Yep.
Because there's lots of people still do it by natural.
Yeah, I mean,
resources.
a teaser, just throw a teaser in, it'll
just
tighten
throw-
the whole thing up. A teaser's a vasectomised ram, for anybody that doesn't know, and that is commonly used to knock the ewes into this 17-day cycle, so they all get blanks fired into them, and they all come back round at the same time, so to speak, for
So
want of a
does
better
that still
expression.
happen?
What, teasers?
No. Do they?
What
Does-
part of that do you want to break down?
If they're vasectomized, does the stuff still come out?
Yeah, it's like a guy. It's like guys get vasectomies, which ain't just a puff of smoke once you've had a vasectomy. You've got. We do it every week, man. Honestly, they never did biology.
was
Oh,
gonna
you
say-
wouldn't do that, to be fair, would you? At Wellington?
No. Well,
Did you? Wait,
anyway.
what school did you go to?
Belmont House in Glasgow.
Oh, is that posher?
No.
No,
No.
That must be a
Just-
private school though.
Yeah, it was.
Aye, aye.
Aye,
Was that posher than
bus-
Wellington?
No. There was a bus full of lads. Wellington's very posh.
So
My
it seems.
sister went there.
Did you?
Aye.
I bet she'll be. What age is she?
Slightly younger than me.
Oh,
but
so
I
in her
wouldn't say
mid-twenties.
what-
Mid-twenties.
Yeah, mid-20s. I wouldn't say what age she is.
What age?
No, she'll be too old for you. You're only. I
What
was
about
only
my
27.
sisters and my brother?
Oh, okay. Yeah, Iona's really young. Aye, they would be the same age as them. Aye.
My sister will be 52.
Oh,
I hope she's not listening to this. I think she's 52.
Are you in your 50s, are you?
Yeah.
All right, good. You're wearing
Not
well.
my 60s before you say
No,
it.
that in your life must be all right. I mean, you get a gig in there. So sorry, just to clarify, yes, Iona after vasectomy is still...
So what does the vasectomy actually do?
It cuts off the wee pipe where the active swimmers come from.
Yep.
So there's a wee pipe that leads to that part of
But
the...
I thought that's what the fluid was. No.
No, the fluid is mostly... what would be the correct...
gonna
the
let
scientific name for it? Mostly kind of milky stuff. I don't know.
Aye, but that's not the
No,
right,
so and then
I thought
within
that's
that,
what was.
it would be this. Maybe the milky stuff's called semen. I don't know, and the other stuff's called
Yeah.
sperm. I don't know how it all breaks down. I don't know how I've got into this absolute hole here. No pun intended. That's one of my best puns. That's
Cut.
oh
Cut.
God.
Crystalix Extra High Energy Feed Blocks have been providing high energy supplementation to ewes, lambs and rams in the UK since 1978. Packed full of protein, vitamins, minerals and trace elements, Crystalix Extra High Energy has been proven to increase live lamb numbers and improve lamb daily live weight gain at a cost of only 4 to 7 pence per ewe per day. To view the full Crystalix range and find your nearest stockist, visit crystalix-global.com.
So if you were on AI Day and you got it in a wee
Dish.
you can get the camera out and you can see them all swimming round.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
of
the ones that
course.
have been vasectomised that just look like a wee bit of milk with
There's
no
none.
swimmers.
Nothing there, right?
I
Yeah.
think-
Does that help it?
That's it. While
Yeah.
we're on this subject, actually, it blows my mind how simple the vasectomy thing is when you watch the vet do it. It's like, just
Is it?
You literally just hold it up on its ass, and the vet will just cut, tube out, cut two parts of the sections of the tube out, stick it back in, stitch it up.
So, right.
It's a
So what
dog.
do they just cut a bit of the tube off and stick?
They don't just cut it once because I think they're worried that it might reattach.
How many children have you got?
Aye,
Cammy?
3. I'm ready for it. Oh no, I'm 100% doing it. Just when
I don't think you should.
All right, okay. I think I should. So you take a section out. I think the idea is so that it cannot join up anyway. But yeah, anyway, that's vasectomies for you.
Yeah.
I think it's a much more delicate procedure when it's a human one.
Yeah.
But back onto the matter. I take. You don't use teasers for blackies, eh? You never would. You'll just use sponges for. You never use
Dad
teasers.
had used his
You
teasers,
would
yeah.
use teasers
Aye,
because
for the
you have
fancy
to-
ones.
Yeah, for the fancy ones that have been flushed, you'll need to.
We
Yeah.
use teasers and sponges.
I would have thought so.
The
'Cause they'll-
blackies
they'll
get sponges in them.
Yeah.
they'll
They do,
synchronise them.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
just effectively the same process for any sheep if you want to flush them or
Yeah,
AI them to get them cycling.
To do that, yeah. So you are Suffolk's, of course. You're the Harpercroft flock. Was that started by your mum or by your dad, or
It
who
was my
started
mum.
that? Your mum
My
started
mum,
that.
Yeah, nearly 60 years ago, I think. And she, my grandfather, who was James Logan of Burton Farm at Ayr, had Suffolk's before my mum.
Okay.
So my mum grew up with Suffolk's. I grew up with Suffolk's, and it's a bit of a drug stroke disease, whatever you like to call it.
What's so good about Suffolk?
God, they're lovely to look at, lovely to work with. Not as ugly as Texels, not as wild as Blackies.
Yeah.
They're like a big Labrador, basically. They eat like a big Labrador as well. Pretty easy to work with.
That's probably quite a fair. I like that, like a big Labrador.
Yeah.
They're always quite big, soft, friendly,
Docile.
docile. They are quite
reasonably
nice to work
docile and reasonably easy to work with. I mean, when they get a charge on, you don't want to be in the way because they're big sheep.
with. But they're having a wee swing back round again, and they're getting back popular with the commercial boys again.
Yeah, but we've been trying to breed more commercial rams for the last couple of years, bit of length, jigget, and focus on that kind of market again. So
Well, I mean, the market for commercial tups now is absolutely booming. Like it's
and that's why
dear.
it's been an absolute. Well, that's another reason why it's been an absolute killer for us this year, because I lived down south for 25 years basically, and I took the decision to move myself and my family home about 6 or 7 years ago. And one of the things, because I came home for every lambing, tup sales, you name it, I came home, and I just decided I wanted to come back, and I've been expanding the flock, and we've been doing a bit of embryo work and stuff like that. And typically last year was the year that I decided to push a wee bit even harder. So I think about 70 pedigree ewes and nearly 40 recips. And of course, typically Schmallenberg decides that that's the year when I have a big push that it's going to absolutely hammer me. So,
and were the recips affected just the same as the pure ewes?
well,
Recips, I should just say, so there's a lot of people. So recip is a recipient ewe, so that'll be like a mule or a Suffolk cross mule type ewe that produces a lot of milk. She's big frame, easy to lamb, and they'll put in a fertilised embryo into that sheep, so she's like a surrogate, something like Kim Kardashian's done, I think, with her kids, basically like that. So
exactly.
sorry, Kim Kardashian. But she had a medical reason she had to do it because
Did she? I didn't realise that.
She couldn't have any more kids.
Right.
It wasn't because she was rich. It was because she actually couldn't.
Yeah, I didn't realise that.
Sorry. We're going to do a Kim Kardashian bloody
You're going down another hole.
Oh, we'll
there,
have a
Cammy.
tangent here. I know, Jesus. Right. So
no.
were they affected just the same?
Well, this is just what's happened to me. We have quite a lot of young sheep in the flock because I've been growing numbers probably slightly harder than you would normally do. And I also had a bought-in recips, so they were either yearlings or one crop ewes. The recips were absolutely decimated. You know, I implanted something like 45 or 46 eggs, and I've got 5 lambs on the ground. And the gimmers, the pedigree gimmers that came into the flock, they were also really badly affected. And it's made me wonder whether I've had a wee touch of it before, and some of the older ewes have got some sort of immunity, but the young sheep just decimated. And the other intriguing thing for me is that the tup lambs were absolutely annihilated by Schmallenberg. The proportion of death in tup lambs versus ewe lambs was significantly more.
Is that right? If the ewe was having a tup lamb,
Yeah, the
it was a
deformities.
worse outcome than... Right, okay.
Significantly.
There must be something in that then. Have you asked a vet about that, or they won't have enough case study to...
Yeah.
Not enough case study.
Not enough people speaking out about it.
Yeah, nobody really knows. It's just a bit of a kind of guesswork, I think. But that's how it's affected us. So I think we've got about 15, 16 tup lambs now versus 35, 40 ewe lambs that are on the ground left.
Yeah.
And that wasn't because we didn't have that many that were born. The tup lambs that were been born were just annihilated.
Yeah. And am I right in saying with Schmallenberg is that once they've had it, so that should you have a better year next year? Should those ewes now be immune to it?
Technically, yes. But as part of the process I've gone through, I've been quite analytical about it. I did an MV test before Christmas, just because all the ewes were coming in, and it made sense. I got Alan from Armour Vet Group to come the day that the ewes were coming in the shed, just before Christmas, and we just MV tested all the ewes. By chance, those blood samples were still at the lab. So I was able to talk to Alan, talk to SRUC. They spoke to Scott Gov, so they've gone back over those blood samples, and interestingly, only about 50% of the ewes have showing signs of the antibody.
Okay. So, but it's more than 50% I've had Schmallenberg.
More than 50% of the losses are showing signs of Schmallenberg. And I haven't tested every single lamb, but I'm now I'm going to go back and say, right, okay, that ewe, we know which lambs were killed, because I kept a list of all the numbers and the tags.
Yeah, from the ewes.
Because I put tags on like within 24 hours of them being born, just to try and keep track and make sure that I know what's bred what.
Yep.
So obviously their pedigrees, you need to know exactly what's going on.
Yep.
And I can't afford any mistakes. So when they're coming thick and fast, just tag them straight away. So I'm going to go back through and see, because straight after it, we sampled, I think it was 8 ewes that had 8 really badly deformed lambs. 6 tested positive and 2 tested negative. But they were like the worst deformed lambs.
Yeah,
So
they're all the same.
they're all the same.
So that's a testing issue, is it not?
I would say so. And Alan and I are yet to have the kind of fallout conversation about what is that. But the numbers that have shown positive for antibodies aren't as high as what I expected them to be.
But you'd hope maybe, is it just the testing's not picking them up right? Or
Possibly.
Are you worried that the antibodies aren't even there and that it could happen again?
Yeah, so it's
such
like
a bloody minefield, isn't it?
Yeah, what do you do? Do you roll the dice and go again? Or do you just sit tight and say, right, like you come back to the point you made, lamb in April. But then I have to change the way I do everything.
Yeah.
Because we've sold tup lambs, well, for not me personally, because I'm not old enough, but 60 years worth of tup lambs.
Yes.
To suddenly go to producing shearlings, well, maybe that's the way I need to go. But then it's a different type of sheep that you're looking for.
Yeah, to do the shearling job.
To do the shearling job. And you've then got to do a U-turn. I mean, okay, most of them will make a decent shearling, but maybe not a kind of modern type that folk are looking for.
It's getting a back, but then mental health's got to come into it at some point, because lambing's hard enough without, when something like that's just horrific.
Yeah.
Like, because it's not even like it's just dead lambs. It's just so sore in the ewe.
That's it.
Like, and it's one thing you're saying the lambs coming out live and then you need to put them down. That is sad, but I mean, farming, when something's deformed like that, that's the way it goes. But it's the ewe. It's like how so brutal it is in the ewe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing that we're just unsure about as well.
The knock on for that.
The knock on from that. So the ones that I think there was a field of 34 ewes with no lambs on the 6th of January. You just had to turn them out of the shed, and that's not good for the ewe.
Yeah. You'll never get a lamb to put onto them anyway at that time of year. So
we were twinning on what we could do.
Yeah.
And we've now got a shed largely, I think it was 20 odd twin-ons we did, which is like unheard of for us as a pedigree breeder. Just unheard of. But we made use of what we had and tried to do it, but the field was full of them. You've got ewes that have gone wrong in their vessels, and then you also just don't know what internal damage some of them have had, whether you'll get them back in lamb or not.
See how it's passed on from the mother to the lamb in the womb. Is it genetic? Like, if that ewe lamb, can she then pass it to her young?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I think it has to. I don't think it even passes sheep to sheep.
Can't
Like blue tongue, which is another big hot topic just now. Blue tongue will pass through midges as well, but then go from sheep to sheep or animal to animal with nose to nose. But Schmallenberg, tell me if I'm wrong yet, Schmallenberg I think is just the infected midgie biting.
Yeah, so Schmallenberg can only affect direct, like in terms of mortality, the lamb that's inside the ewe whilst it's in the womb.
Yeah.
And it can't go sheep to sheep.
Yeah, but I think part of the problem is once a sheep's infected, if other midges bite that sheep, then you've got loads of midges with it, and then it's. Well,
I think from what Alan told me, so I'll blame Alan for this.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'll
He's my vet too, so it's all good.
Bring his professional liability into question.
Yeah.
I understand that if it's only in the period where the sheep's infected, if it's bitten by a midge that's not infected, can that midge become infected and then carry it over?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, so I think it's only like a 48-hour window.
Oh, that the midge can get it.
Because one of the things we did was say, right, have we brought this in from somewhere? But we didn't bring a sheep onto the place from basically April until November.
Yeah.
Which was
After
a couple of ewe
tupping.
lambs. We had one ram that we bought, but that ram was bought at the top sales at the end of the July, stayed in isolation, partly for disease control measures and partly because we'd paid a lot of money for him, and he went in a wee
You want to
smart,
look after him. Yeah,
he
yeah.
went in a wee smart paddock so that I could look at him morning and night and make sure that he hadn't hung himself or was doing some. So he never went near the ewes. He was a mile away from the ewes, so that there was just no real way that we could see that it has come from anywhere else other than infected midges coming to the farm.
Really, really lucky that it only affects sheep and cows that we know of, and not like humans, isn't it?
God, yeah.
Like,
Touch wood.
because like, you wonder what the actual difference is. Like, there's not that massive a difference that you wouldn't think it would have an impact. Some people might wonder what the hell a midgie is, by the way. A midgie is like a tiny little fly that Scotland is famous for, but that you get loads of them down south as well. But do they call them midgies down south? They must do.
I don't know what they call them down there, but
They must. I need to ask Lizzie that. I
there's
think
other,
they do.
there's other names for them up here as well. I've got a few names for them now.
I can
Yeah.
imagine. I can imagine. There's a very famous song about them actually. Who sings that one again? It goes, the midgies, I'm no gonna kid yous. We'll slot that in a wee bit, Ashley, 'cause it's a great wee song.
The midges, I'm no gonna kid yous. The midges is really the limit. With teeth like piranhas, they drive you bananas if you let them get under your summit.
Yeah, so they're a wee biting fly. Some might think like a tiny wee mosquito.
Yeah.
There's maybe a way of
tiny,
looking at them.
and they are tiny.
But, I mean, you get the Zika virus from mosquitoes, which is probably not a million miles away from what this is, and that affects humans.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to hope for the best. There'll be loads of folk listening to this, I'm sure, that have had similar issues, especially farmers down south. I heard there's a bit of bother with it again this year. You'll have heard more, maybe. And blue tongue apparently is having a bit of issue with some flocks too. I've been hearing.
Well, so Schmallenberg, I know for absolute certain, although not medically proven, Northern Ireland's been hit pretty bad.
Right.
Because I've spoken to a number of Suffolk breeders over there, and when I went public, lots of people reached out, and a number of them were in Northern Ireland. England has had more. What appears to happen is that it kind of talk about a kind of 3 to 5 year cycle of it spiking. So you get a bad year, and then it'll be a good year straight after, and then it kind of climbs again.
Okay.
And-
would a cold winter help us?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't
the
it?
climatic change. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, that's the blue tongue argument, is it gets across the channel because
Is
the
blue tongue in
winters-
Scotland? I heard it was in Scotland.
Not that anyone's aware of.
No, a bit of scaremongering going on. I think there's a whole thing on the go just now. That's
is there?
well, the problem is we've not had a cold winter, and blue tongue's still about. So if blue tongue's still about, as we come back round into the bloody summer again, and the midges are going to be active.
Yeah, okay.
It's gonna. I mean, I don't want to be all pessimistic about it, but nothing's been there to kill the whole thing off.
Right, okay.
I
think
think my
that-
understanding.
There's pretty clear medical evidence that I've read that blue tongue has overwintered in England,
Okay.
and that the general consensus is that they in England are considering vaccinating from as early as end of March.
Well,
And there's talk England is going to go into a blue tongue zone, the entire country. And then at that point, Scottish Government has a choice to make whether it does track and trace, not meaning to talk about COVID, but that principle, or whether Scotland joins with England in its strategy of vaccinating, because they've got a vaccine for the BTV3 strain, but there was another strain recently and an outbreak in the southeast of England. I think it was BTV15, I read.
okay.
But it's not as dangerous as the BTV3.
Okay, so it's weakening.
Well, the 15 strain apparently is not as virile as the 3 strain.
Yeah.
But the problem with blue tongue is, and not wishing to scaremonger, but like it's, as you said, sheep to sheep, and mortality in the breeding ewes.
Yeah, an adult
and infertility in the tops.
Yeah.
And I spoke to some of my Suffolk breeding pals on the continent. I know a few, one particular in Belgium, and they've got blue tongue quite bad over there. And they've seen significant losses, both in terms of fertility, mortality. He said to me when I phoned him to get some Jen on Schmallenberg, you don't want to worry about Schmallenberg, Michael. It's blue tongue you should be really worried about.
Okay. Well, because I spoke to a mate in Germany. He said 30% of 30% mortality in infected flocks, which is insane.
Yeah.
Which is like when we're already short of lambs and cattle as well. Am I right in saying cattle too?
Cattle can get it, but I don't think blue tongue's as dangerous for cattle.
Right, okay, that's good then, because the beef herd's bad enough, reduced as it is.
Yeah.
So the sheep thing, I don't even know if there's a compensation.
There isn't.
Is that right? If you get it, you're just screwed.
Yeah.
30% of your flock can be gone, and there's no compensation. Would the NFU cover it?
No, can't get disease insurance for these kind of things. Jeez. Because if you think of the control measures that you have to put in place, it's just. I'm just saying, God only knows. How did a wee midge come to the top of Dundonald Hill?
I know. Yeah, all the way with that.
Who'd have thought it?
It's obviously leapfrog. It's all the way up on different flocks. So like there'll be a trail all the way up from the south of England, from the Channel across into France and Germany, wherever. But it's obviously discovered.
Surely they don't get midges in France.
They must do.
Aye.
Why do I think of midges as being a Scottish thing? Do you?
Well, I think we're particularly bad here because we've got so many wilderness. Because we've got the Galloway Forest. It's hellish. It is hellish.
Yeah, they just explode. I think it's because of the damp climate that we have as well. So a lot of water and
they're always near lochs, aren't they? They're always near lochs.
Yeah.
Keeps the campers away, I suppose.
Lochs and trees.
But I mean, Schmallenberg must be a German thing, I'm guessing. Or a German scientist that discovered it or something.
I think it's from a town in Germany.
Called Schmallenberg.
But you wouldn't
think so.
You wouldn't want your name put to it.
No, you wouldn't, I suppose. That's why Corona were raging about the beer sales.
Coronavirus.
The lager tanked because of these like
it's
coronavirus.
Mad, isn't it? 'Cause it makes no sense, but
yeah.
And what I'd like to hear a wee bit more about you as well, Michael. So what took you down south?
I went to do land agency and land management at Cirencester.
Right.
Straight out of, not quite straight out of school. I worked at the Toms at Drumswee Farm for a wee while.
Right.
Who are no longer there now. And then went to Cirencester, did land
What are you saying there? Cirencester?
Cirencester, aye.
Is that a place?
The Royal Agricultural College.
Oh, right, okay.
As was. It's now been changed into the Royal Agricultural University because they get renamed. Everything gets renamed.
Rebranded.
Yeah. And did land agency. Came out, worked not too far from here for a chap called Patrick Donald. Donald's Chartered Surveyors. He was the rural practice partner for Hall's Surveyors in Glasgow, I think, and bought it out, moved it to his house at Tannacreef at Fenwick.
Okay. That's nothing to do with Donald Ross? No?
No.
Different?
No,
okay.
No, different. Did my 2 years APC, got my qualification, got my RICS, and I wasn't really enjoying it. It wasn't, I don't know, I'd been away down, seen the bright lights of southern England and all the attractions that you can get down there.
Is London you're talking about, or?
Well, no, just a buzz. There was lots of stuff going on.
Do you
Of stuff.
like that city life?
No, it wasn't a city life. It was more just there was lots happening, lots of things to do, lots of places close by. And I came back to Ayrshire and it was all a bit quiet.
Right.
And then I had a friend of mine who was working at the NFU in Salisbury and he said to me, "Oh, great night out. There'll be plenty of birds, plenty of booze, and you might get paid for it as well." And I was like, 23 or 24-year-old, I'm going to go for it. What have I got to lose?
Yeah.
So I went down there and I was the assistant agent in the Salisbury office for just over 12 months. And then they asked me if I become the senior agent stroke partner in the Winchester, Romsey and Southampton agency.
Right.
And I was there for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Just like that?
Just like that. It just went
Flew by?
in a flash.
Well, you're obviously well out of Salisbury before the Russians came.
I was, thankfully, yes.
Yeah. Aye.
Yeah.
That's, was that quite interesting when that was on? Would you recognise a lot of that bit? So you're there such a short time?
No, because I actually lived, Salisbury was like kind of my home. I moved job to Winchester,
But
I
you
just
still
lived-
stayed in... Oh, so you stayed in Salisbury for 20 years?
Yeah, pretty much.
So were you
yeah.
there when that poisoning
No,
happened?
it
We're
was
talking
just,
about...
it was just
I
about
forgot
18
about
months
that.
after
Yeah.
I left. So I
Was that right, just 18 months? So you'd recognise all the bits on the
Yeah,
TV
it
and...
was outside one of the it was called Reeves the Bakers. It was a Greg's equivalent in Salisbury. So it was outside there, and you're like, oh my god, what are the Russians
could have
doing
been in
to-"
it. Yeah.
So
It was a Novichok, wasn't it? They were trying to get rid of an agent,
Yeah.
an ex-double spy or something like that, and she picked up something that didn't belong to her and took it home. And
What was the one that was in like a? It wasn't Pizza Express, but it was in.
no, you're thinking of Prince Andrew. He was in Pizza Express.
What?
Sure, Prince Andrew's excuse was
no,
he
I think
was in
you're,
Pi-
I
Pizza
think you're on the
Express.
money. It was they'd been out. There'd been people who'd been out to a restaurant or something, and they'd sat
There
on the
was
bench or something.
and they
Oh,
got.
after them, but
Yeah.
they survived.
Because
those
that
ones,
was
did
a
they?
similar thing to Corona. Then whatever the restaurant was, their bookings took an absolute hit after that, even though there was no connection to
Yeah.
the restaurant.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Because of
Right,
that, yeah.
It's a shame. I heard the salad's very good in Pizza Express. You ever been?
Yeah, but I don't know.
I've never been.
What do you mean, like a salad? Like, because
I don't know. Someone just told me the salads are amazing.
oh,
Just
sorry.
always stuck in my head because I just thought how random a pizza place has a good salad.
Well, it's a Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut's got a great salad bar.
Does it?
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Does
let me-
Pizza
Can I
Hut
just
still
ask,
exist?
why would you have a salad if you went to? A
That's
pizza
why, it's
No,
stuck, that's why it's stuck in my
because
head.
oh no,
I
there's
thought what a
nothing
random
best.
thing to what a random thing to be good at a pizza place.
Pizza, but then with a bite of iceberg lettuce. It's
Yeah,
absolutely
it's quite
delicious.
doughy and
It's
heavy
nice and
and then it's
fresh. Yeah.
crisp. Okay.
Sorry, just while we're on this, I'm sorry, Michael. We got
Don't be sorry, we'll have a tangent.
just when we're talking about good salads, Miller and
I thought I'd gone
Carter.
back to the Novichok. Sorry.
No, Miller and Carter with the iceberg. Somebody
yeah.
emailed in,
Oh yeah.
and we need to correct ourselves.
Well, kind of.
okay,
Kind of.
go on.
So I said that I went to Miller and Carter for a steak years ago now, and I was really disappointed because there's no British beef on it. It was the one at Newton Mearns there at Glasgow,
Aye.
and the iceberg lettuce. You been to Miller and Carter?
Never.
Right. Well, the iceberg lettuce is you get like this. You
Wedge.
don't even order it, do you? It just comes with it before the steak.
But now you get to choose what toppings you have on it.
Okay. Well, before it was like I can't remember. It was like some ranch dressing, but it was like you're eating a quarter of lettuce and it's amazing because they put this amazing sauce on
So
it.
good.
Random. Anyway, I was annoyed because it was all Argentinian and Australian beef, and I thought this was meant to be like a good British steakhouse type thing, but I should have known better as a franchise. Anyway, somebody's emailed in saying now there is British options on it,
Yes.
but it's not all British. Which
It's not all
maybe it's
British.
unfair to expect, but
At least they're moving over.
yeah. Although the price of British beef now, like you can't blame them.
No, true.
It's wild. You don't have any cattle at Harpercroft, do you?
No,
no,
don't.
just sheep.
Just sheep. Yeah.
How did you find the adjustment moving back up?
Well, it's funny. My mum said about a week, 10 days after I'd moved back, somebody said to my mum, I can't remember, it was my aunt or somebody, how's Michael settling in? And she said, oh, well, it's like he's not been away for 25 years. It was just like, bang,
Was it?
back home, happy, had done my time. It got, so I was dealing with a big kind of farming stroke commercial client base down there. And it just had become very busy,
Okay.
overcrowded. To go anywhere was 3 times the time that it should be.
Oh, you mean the population?
Yeah, population. So I was in.
So the
my
thing you initially
my
liked now was
agency
just too much.
Yeah, my agency was in Winchester, but I had Winchester and Southampton.
Okay.
1.2 million people within an area the size of Ayrshire.
Yeah.
Just to give you a kind of idea. 12 miles from Winchester to Southampton, it could take you an hour and a half to drive it, at rush hour, down the main M3, M27 motorways, just absolutely overrun with people.
You know what it's like when you're coming up the M6? Like whenever you hit sort of Manchester, Birmingham kind of area, like almost no matter what time of day you go, it's
Chocker.
aye. Just
Yeah,
the amount
so-
of people.
So how did I settle in? It was like I'd never been away. But I'd been coming home more and more and more.
Right, okay.
Aye, as you were starting to think, I went
I
out
was
of here.
starting to think I wanted to leave and come back home, and I wanted to do a bit more on the farm and stuff like that. So, yeah,
So you left that job.
I left. So basically, the mutual give you a franchise, effectively. It's called an agency agreement, and you run their insurance business, and you also have a side contract to be an employee of the NFU,
Right, okay.
and you do some NFU branch work.
Right.
Nothing too politically heavy, just deal with inquiries, keep membership going, organise meetings, that kind of stuff. Because obviously they've got the policy advisors and other people like that. But basically, you get this franchise, you sign a bit of paper to say that you'll get X amount of commission each month for the insurance products you sell, but you've got to service them, deal with the claims, collect the money. A car franchise arrangement where you go, and if you went to the BMW garage, it's the one-stop shop for anything BMW. That's what happens at the Mutual. So I took the decision to leave that, come back home. My dad had a feed business, Robert H. Goldie Limited. I joined that, and after a short spell, my dad and I decided that we were going to sell that business. Alistair Peacock, the captain, who many people know.
Everybody will know him. Yeah,
everybody knows the captain. Lovely chap, Alistair is.
We just did some hats for him last week.
Oh, did you?
RH Goldie hats.
Yeah, he's a good man, as Alistair. Alistair had always wanted to buy into the business. Dad and I were both happy for Alistair to buy into the business, and we came to an arrangement. Alistair took it over, and I spent 18 months sitting in a digger, doing a bit of fencing, doing a bit of drainage, converting 2 cottages to holiday lets on the farm, and then the Mutual knocked on the door and said, "Would you like to come back? We're going to merge the Ayr office and the Stranraer office. You've obviously had 22 years experience, and we'd like you to come on board." And so we had a bit of a negotiation. It wasn't too hard at the time. I felt it was a really good opportunity for me to get back into that line of work, and it's something that came naturally to me after 22 years of doing it. Be a bit like you stopping shearing sheep for 10 years. You'd, apart from the sore back.
I was going to say, but that's stiff. I'd never get back into it. But no, I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's just a natural thing. It's what you know. It's what you know. It's comfortable.
It's comfort.
Yeah.
The comfort. The challenging bit of merging 2 agencies, getting to know a different set of clients, all that kind of stuff is a really challenging and enjoyable bit for me, because I'm reasonably sociable and enjoy meeting folk. And
is the NFU the best insurance company?
Without any question of doubt, Cammy.
I think, do you know, I think people that aren't even with NFU would still say that.
Yeah.
Why?
I think it's widely accepted. Well, maybe I'm speaking out of that. Like you never any hassle with NFU if you phone for a claim or anything like that. And like if I can phone the Kilmarnock office and just speak to a person.
Yeah, that's huge.
Like, and they'll know your farm, and they'll know who you are, and like, and not just because of the sheep game. Like they know the farmers and stuff. It's
a traditional model. And it's an old-fashioned model, and most of the offices have like people like me who come from a farming background, are interested in farming, understand it. Most of the offices have a significant proportion of their staff come from a farming background as well, and are known. But the big thing about Mutual for me is that they're obviously a mutual company who are there to serve their policyholders. And when I come up against our opposition, fine, premium is one of the big things, but in terms of service, looking after the customers and wanting to pay the claim, that nobody will beat the NFU Mutual.
Yeah. And you're talking that generally the only reason people don't go NFU is because they're the most expensive. I mean they are. Yeah. But there's definitely a part of that where I think you're getting what you pay for. And I made a comment on here, and the girls chidding me at the NFU AGM.
Oh, did they?
About me saying that my insurance was expensive. So I said, because I was talking
about the Kilmarnock girls chin you did.
I can't remember who actually got me now, but someone got me after the dinner and was saying, "Hey, you, blah blah." But in fairness, I had said after it, like after that storm, which we'll just briefly talk about actually. There was a storm, and I said after the storm, actually, my neighbour's entire shed blew away. I said, actually, £5,500 a year for this whole place isn't too bad. Like, you know, because there's $100,000 shed
gone,
tumbling down the
to
field.
Go up. Absolutely. So storm, it was storm Gareth Wynne Jones or some other annoying Welsh thing like that, was it?
Yeah. I'm not allowed to say what I think in public of the Welsh after the 24th of January.
24th of January, what was that?
Storm Iona.
Storm Iona, oh yes, okay, yeah. You see, it made it difficult to remember, like, well, I suppose maybe not for them, but
it didn't make it difficult for us to remember.
No, tell me about that, like that's...
Well,
The amount of claims.
Yeah, significant number of claims. So our office on its own had just over 300 claims.
That's just Stranraer and Ayr.
Stranraer and Ayr.
Yeah.
And just to give you a kind of put that into perspective, the average annual property claims for the last 3 years has been about 320 to 340 a year. And we had just over 300 in one day.
Yeah.
And that
And
was
big claims. Well, there would be a lot of big claims in there.
I think from what I can gather, average claim size about 20 to 22,000 at the minute. Average claim size.
Yeah, like...
So, but we've got claims ranging from several 100,000 down to
the
smaller
there's
ones.
like people's houses, like roofs coming off houses and all sorts of stuff. Like, it's. I mean, playing devil's advocate, like I see some of the sheds that you guys insure. There's folk no go around the farms and go like, "Mate, I'm not insuring that shed."
It'll
Well, because that's what I would do.
it'll depend what it is. There are different ratings for different conditions and whether they're open fronted, whether they're wooden, those kind of things. So, like one of my jobs is to go around and say, right, let's try and get the best rate for that because it's a Rolls Royce shed.
Yeah.
Or look, I can't hand on heart say it's a Rolls Royce shed, so you're going to have to pay a bit more.
Which shed builder builds the Rolls Royce ones?
I can't comment on which ones. Go and speak to the Smiths at Comores Mains. They'll sort you out.
Is that the ones?
Yeah.
There we go. They'll love that. He listens. Tam listens. He'll love that. It's Tam that built this one we're in just now.
Oh, right.
All these ones in here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
he's father. He's father the credit.
Yeah. No. So basically, there's been a significant volume of claims, and we chewed our way through. It took us about 10 days just to get all the claims notified. Within, and there was guys in the Oban office had about 200, and the guys in the Stranraer, the Dumfries agency had about 200. So it's been a significant volume. I think the Mutual had something like 3,600 claims for that day.
So what, you're talking 20,000 a claim, was that 60 million?
Yeah, it's been a big event, and it will have a knock-on effect.
Claims will need to go up.
Well, premiums will need to go up.
Sorry, premiums will need to go up. Yeah.
I would like claims to go down, Cammy. But
Why don't? I know. Wouldn't you? Well, here's a question for you. So I initially maybe a bit rash on my part, but someone said to me I should phone the insurance and let them know about it. So I phoned and says we had 12 skylights or something blown out, so it's not nothing compared to other folk. But I've not got the price. I've had them fixed, but I've not had the price for it yet. But like, I'm probably quite happy. Like if it's quite cheap, I'll just pay for it myself rather than. But now that I've phoned them and told them about it, is that still going to count as a claim against me?
no, because you can phone and say, I want to withdraw the claim because there won't be any cost.
So that when they look at my premium next year, they won't say, "Oh, he claimed."
Well, as long as they withdraw the claim at nil cost. So if they've appointed an adjuster, for argument's sake, which they won't have done in your case, you'll just notified saying, I want just to register it. If there's no cost, they can...
I think they might have brought an adjuster. Somebody came out and looked at it. They were at the farm next door anyway, but they just came out and looked at it.
Because there'll be an adjuster fee, which has to be paid unless you want to dig your pocket out and pay for that as well.
What do you think? What's it better for you if it's like, if the cost is going to be 1,500 quid?
Every farm is different. I normally say I'm slightly old school. I don't think you should be making a claim for everything.
No, I agree.
And try and carry some of it yourself. If it's more than $2,000, then probably start thinking about it. But it depends what size your unit is as well. So there's lots of people who've got smaller farms and smaller buildings who feel that they've paid the premium and they want to make the claim, and that's perfectly, they're entitled to do that. But it's just that seeing the frequency of storms that are coming now, looking at the storm rates, that kind of stuff, the less...
Oh, surely NFU need to tighten up a bit. Like they need to not insure some sheds that are in disrepair and
You can't be too prejudicial.
But you're going to go bust. How can you keep all these storms that are
Then
coming?
it'll make the farmer might go bust.
No, or it might make the farmer take more precautions to make sure the shed doesn't blow away.
But if he's got no money to fix the shed.
That's what I'm saying. He'll take more precautions to...
But what can he do?
Oh, there's loads of things you can do. You can...
That doesn't cost money.
big square bales of straw. Like I saw guys
There's a lot of folk
putting
there's a
straw
lot-
bales on
Yeah,
shed
good
roofs, like
There's a lot of folk-
ratchet strapping things down, and
Yeah.
Yeah, stop it blowing about,
there is things that can be done.
Yeah, we try.
Making repairs.
Yeah.
Don't letting that flappy bit of tin sit and then know the storm's coming, and then that's just going to be the bit of catalyst that
That
rips the whole
goes.
roof off. Like, I'm just playing devil's advocate. There'll be folk getting upset. I'm just thinking as a business, like the NFU, the way it runs. Like, tell you an example of claims where NFU pay out far too easy. But tell me about this. Oh, you do? Like, they absolutely do. But if would it be right in saying if somebody phoned up and said they had lost their freezer contents as a result of damage during the storm, you would pay out in that?
Yeah, because there's an extension in the home policy to cover freezer contents, loss of freezer contents, because quite a lot of farmers.
Stop
How they
it.
ever going to make money?
What about if you say, "Oh, I had 50 fillet steaks in there"?
I think it's limited.
Evidence,
How? But they're gone.
pictures of them.
But I've binned them because they were
Well,
smelly.
you've not got
Tough
the
shit
evidence,
then.
and then
Tough
you're in
shit.
They'll
bother.
get it.
So you have to give evidence.
Which is fair, but still,
Yeah.
like,
But that's a
So like
cover
folk taking
extension.
photos of like their bird's eye piece
Aye.
and stuff.
Yeah, I had a
no, it's,
policy
meat,
holder.
it's mainly meat, is the issue.
You'll
Not
not be surprised to learn I had a policy holder that sent me some pictures, and I said, "What on earth are you doing with some Irish steak in your freezer?" You know.
yeah. But I think that's unbelievable. Like, that's like,
I think quite a lot of insurers give freezer contents as standard in their policies. Genuinely.
I never heard of that. I thought that was fair enough. Like, to be fair, if I suppose that's easy for me to say because I can restock the freezer, but hey, if times are tight and
Yeah.
at home, it could be a lot of money's worth of, when cost of living crisis and all that.
You want it
Maybe
rammed.
I'm making far too light of it.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
I'm
true.
making far too light of it.
And some folk, if you kill a beast and you've got a chest freezer or two chest freezers and you've put a beast in a freezer,
Yeah.
There could be a lot of money
there could
in
be
there.
a lot of money in that.
You ever got any photos of that? That's a shout. Chest freezer. I've got that deed calf line on there. I had a full calf in that freezer. That'll pay for the calf. You could have. I shouldn't make light of it, but you could have put your lambs in the freezer. There we go. Look at this lamb I had. Anyway, I just thought it was unbelievable, like the payout and that. But what other crazy stuff do they pay out on? You're not allowed to say it's crazy, but I could.
There's lots of weird that I can't
No, you can't
straight
say
away.
it's-
No, it's not much
Oh,
so
right, you
much
can't.
say if you looked at the policy wording, there's lots of stuff that you have cover extensions for additional insurances, but that's standard in the marketplace. When I started 25 years ago, it was like buildings, contents, bang.
Yeah.
And the policy booklet's now like 78 pages long.
But I bet there's lots of people listening to this that didn't even realise that the contents. Because
Yeah.
to be fair, I'm making light of it. We had a heap of good meat ruined because the power went off in
Did
the
you?
freezer. So there'll be loads of folk probably listening. I probably screwed you over for another few grand.
But then, is it worth, like, say the contents of your freezer were worth £100? Is your premium going to go up?
Well, you
Yeah,
wouldn't
that's a
Buy
good
more-
point.
I think there's £100 excess.
Yeah, so it has
Yeah,
to
so
be.
you've got
from
that, and
memory.
it
then
has
your
to be a big
premium.
claim.
It has to
That's
be a
why you
reason.
can't be appeased. It has to be like a whole beast.
Aye,
Saying there's got to
yeah,
be
yeah,
500
yeah.
quid of meat in there really to justify it.
Yeah.
It needs to be.
But it still is interesting.
You'd be surprised, like wasp removal, like a wasp nest removal. There's one of them extensions in the policy.
Right?
Yeah. You know what? Where would you think of that?
Oh, I think most people that would have the insurance would never even think. They would just deal with it. You would never
Yeah.
think. Yeah, it's interesting. Aye. We are with the NFU mainly because I do like that command. They're a farming business essentially. They're involved within the farming community. They get behind a lot of events, put on a lot of different things, like you're saying, evenings and different nights. You obviously get the mutual and the NFU. What's the other one called? It's like two separate bodies, isn't it? You've got like the mutuals, your insurance, and more kind of
and
corporate thing. Then you've
NFU
got
Scotland being
like a
the-
membership based thing.
the political wing and the insurance wing.
Yes, the political wing. So yeah, I like to just be able to phone the Kilmarnock office and be like,
Yeah,
made an
personable.
ass of this again.
But
Can you help?
farmers like that in general, don't they? Like speaking to people.
Good point. They probably win a lot of people
So
just by that fact.
Yeah.
It's a very different marketplace to
Yeah.
commercial
I mean,
businesses.
you can literally walk in the door and they're there.
Yeah.
Like you just
Yeah.
walk in the door. It's just like a house. It's next to the Portman in Kilmarnock.
Yeah.
You just walk in, and there they are.
Yeah.
And Ayre's even easier. It's in bloody.
It's in the
Ayr
market. Yeah, and the Stranraer
yeah,
office is in the town on the main. Well, it's on Edinburgh Road, but it's in the town as well.
Yeah, dead easy.
Parking outside.
There's
Loads of folk come to the office just to get personal contact.
Yeah, absolutely.
The mutual, that's one of the USPs. They're miles ahead of anyone else.
Yeah. Now, I'm conscious of our time here. We're at the hour. But just to finish off on the Schmallenberg thing, are you going to do anything different next year? Or just charge on and hope that this year clear of it?
I've the PTSD has kicked in, and neither myself nor my mum.
No, actually, mum, I really feel bad for her. She was. We went and we saw some hogs for you, and she was fair cut up. Like she was. God, you could see it. Like she was traumatized by the whole thing.
Yeah, it's been. She calls it the COVID now because she doesn't like talking about it.
Okay, yeah.
But we are probably just going to AI a reasonable number of sheep, 20, 30, to reduce our exposure, and have a batch of them lamb. March, April time.
Okay.
And pick our best, or what we think might be our best. Keep hold of the recips. Keep hold of the ones that we don't think are maybe as good as the main sheep. And I'm probably even gonna put them in lamb to a Charlie or something like that, and see if I can breed some of my own recips and try and, because the blue tongue thing concerns me, and just have a holding period for 12 months.
Yep.
Breed some recips myself. Not go to shows. I'm not going to a show.
Yep.
I don't want to expose myself to getting blue tongue from being at a show somewhere because somebody from somewhere has brought stock that might have been.
You make a valid point. It worries me, the whole show, and the blue tongue is going to be a major issue this summer for shows, for cross border shows.
Yeah.
I don't see it being an issue in Scottish shows, but for say guys wanting to go to the down to the Welsh or down to shows down there, it's going to be.
Yeah, is it worth the risk?
That's the problem.
Yeah,
like you're saying.
Yeah, and the other thing that we've also got coming up is there's quite a lot of Suffolk sales, pedigree sales that happen in England.
Of course.
So
where is the big Suffolk sale? It's Carlisle's the big one for the Tups, but where's
the big Suffolk sale has been the Scottish area branch traditionally, and it's ended mid-July at Lanark.
Yep.
And then you've got early August at Carlisle, and there's one late July in Shrewsbury.
Yep.
So those are the three sort of major breed sales. And Carlisle's obviously a haven for most of the pedigree sheep sales that happen.
Not the Blackies, but I know what you're saying. Lanark, all the Texels, but they are for.
There's quite
they have a good one, but the big sale is definitely
Lanark. The female sales for the Texels happen down at Carlisle.
Yes, Carlisle definitely have fantastic. They do great, and they do great ones like multi-breed nights and stuff like that. They've absolutely got it nailed. Absolutely.
But if
such a good central point,
if England moves to blue tongue zone and Scotland's not, you're on the one-way ticket taking a sheep to a sale, and you basically
it's really going to be a shambles because a Scottish buyer then can't hardly buy a sheep from Carlisle and bring it up, because it's just
messy.
Let's not overthink it.
Yeah,
it's for other people to worry about. We don't. You've got the storm damage to worry about. Iona's got working out how vasectomies work to work on for the next week. Go and look into
homework.
it. Yeah, go and look into it. We have is there anything else you want to add, Michael, before we move on? And
no.
We've got a quiz that we do. We might not include this quiz, right? I want to patch the quiz, but
see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. I want to change it. I don't want to patch it, I want to change it. But I want to wrap through the questions. If you don't know it, just pass. Don't sit in it too long because the time's a factor. Some people sit too long in the questions. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
In terms of sport, what does the abbreviation AAA refer to?
No idea.
Amateur Athletic Association. The Adelaide Cup horse race has been completed for since which year? Competed for A, 1864, 1884 or 1904?
1884.
64. In which profession did Sir Charles Barry become famous for his work in London in the mid-19th century?
Architecture.
Yes. A good invention is often said to be the best thing since what?
Sliced bread.
Yes. How far can light travel in 1 second?
1,000,000 miles.
186,000 miles. Originally founded as a Norman castle in the 12th century, in which country is Alnwick Castle? County.
Alnwick Castle.
Alnwick Castle.
Yeah, what county is Alnwick Castle?
Alnwick, Northumberland.
Yes. Which entertainer is known as the Boss?
Bruce Springsteen.
Yes. What is the meaning of the Latin phrase carpe diem?
Oh, who cares? Oh, God, no.
Seize the day.
Seize the day. Which strategy and conflict game is played on a board depicting a map of the world divided into 42 territories with the aim being world domination?
Christ knows.
Risk. What English word means couteau in French and cuchillo in Spanish?
No idea.
Knife.
You're just in Spain.
What was Andre Jacques Garrerin the first to do from a height of 2,230 feet in 1797?
Parachute?
Yes! Parachute jump from a...
Take it.
Balloon,
Take it.
I'm presuming.
Yes. Louis Edson Waterman was the inventor of what writing implement?
A quill pen.
Fountain pen. What does a lepidopterist collect?
The next one.
The US... Oh, for God's sake.
Frontiers woman.
Martha Jane Burke is better remembered by which name?
No idea.
Calamity Jane. The first two winners of the Miss World contest in 1951 and 52 came from which Northern European country?
Sweden.
Yes.
Shout. Time.
Do you give them extra?
6. Yeah, we
Time,
did have
good,
extra.
yeah.
What was your good one there? Your pronunciations of things.
Alnwick.
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 What was the other one? To be fair, I've never heard that.
6 is becoming the average.
Yeah, 6 is safe. But honestly, like these questions, I mean, how far can light travel in 1 second? Who knows that?
Me.
You knew it was 186,000 miles.
Mm-hmm.
How?
Just do.
From science.
Physics.
See, she knows that, but she never heard of Anik. How random is that? Did you actually know that? No, yeah, I know. So I was going to say, yeah.
I didn't.
Do you know what? It says which strategy and conflict game played on a board. Risk? I thought Risk was like the wee thing where you move the wire round and then it buzzes. I thought that was Risk.
I don't know.
I'd never heard of that.
Nah, me neither.
I can't believe that you didn't give me a quill pen when it was a
Is quill
fountain.
pen a fountain pen?
Not quite. But
I thought
it's
quill
like
pen was like a feather.
Well, it's kind of the same idea.
Oh, I think that.
Waterman.
No, I don't.
I heard. Did they not make pens?
Louis said it, Waterman. Maybe that makes it. Maybe that's what it's
I'd
from.
be willing to give it to you.
What, you
Just
take
like-
me up to 7?
Oh,
Is that-
maybe
is that
not. No,
controversial?
because I'm 7.
I think that's controversial, though, isn't it? Because it is a different pen. It doesn't even really matter.
No,
That's the main
everybody calm
thing.
down.
Everybody calm down. Nobody's catching Michael anyway. So yeah, another round of stinking questions. You did very well, Michael. Thanks very much for coming in, and thanks for also spreading that message. Like I think there'll be a lot of people taking heart a bit. You know, it's good to hear. I always get feedback at Lambing Time. It's a disaster. It's great to see we're not the only ones suffering.
Definitely.
So hearing you speak about it,
Yeah.
will definitely have that effect on other people. So good man. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers, thanks.
And we're back. Thank you, Michael, for coming in and sharing that story. Yeah, I remember going sharing some hogs there, as we said in the podcast, and just how cut up Michael's mum was about the whole thing.
wonder.
Like it
It's
was,
awful.
yeah, grim.
Really awful.
But next year, go again.
Yep.
Hopefully things will be better. It's one thing, you know, as we said, about getting a vaccine for it, but then it's so difficult because you almost don't know you need it until
It's too late.
it's too late. That's the problem. Okay, but no Friday chat this week. So Iona, what do you have in the week ahead? What's coming up?
Just usual working, massaging, yogaing is my plan.
Doing yoga.
Yeah, right
yeah,
into
I like
it
your
again.
yoga.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yoga and Pilates.
The
yeah.
Bikram, the warm, hot yoga.
Yep, hot. Yep, the Pilates I'm really enjoying.
Hot Pilates
Hot
too.
Pilates, yeah.
Is that just stretching?
No. It's it's actually quite high impact. Like it gets your heart rate up and stuff.
Oh, does it?
But it's better for your joints because it's in the heat apparently.
Right, okay. Right, how much does that cost a session? So
£100 a month for a unlimited membership.
£100 a month for unlimited membership.
Yeah, but it's saying it's £18 a class. Actually, that was something I was going to talk to you about. So there's a class on a Wednesday at 5 that I would really like to go to, and I was wondering if I could start going to it.
Who would know? Well, how would I know? Apart from that time I phoned you at the hairdressers. Did we talk about that? Last Friday I phoned out. I honestly had a haircut, by the way. For anyone watching and not, or just listening, I honestly had a haircut. Looks lovely.
Thank you.
When did you get it?
Friday.
What time on Friday?
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock on Friday. So I phone Iona on Friday to talk about work-related things. And she answers the phone like, hello? And straight away I'm like, oh, something's happening here. And what did I say to you? Are you all right?
You all right?
Are you all right? So I said, yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm in the hairdressers. I'm like, oh, are you? In fact, I didn't even say anything, did I? No. I didn't even bat an eyelid.
I told you I was going to the hairdresser.
Did you? No, you didn't. I don't
Tina in
care.
college.
You know I don't care.
No, I know you don't.
So if you want to just do half days on Wednesdays and go to Pilates, that's fine. And then take Thursday off, as you usually do. Hairdressers Fridays. And
I'll
so
do
what?
Monday, Tuesdays.
I do a Monday, Tuesday, put a good solid Monday, Tuesday in.
Solid shift.
Keep your, keep tapping the laptop every so often so that it looks like you're there.
Perfect.
What more do we need?
Great.
What more do we need? No, lovely haircut. Fantastic. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
good luck with the Pilates. I should do something like that. Where is it?
You should. Straven.
No. Interesting thing, though, we had a chat on a previous podcast about, folk loved it actually, talking about your outgoings. If you didn't listen to the last Friday chat, Iona was talking about our monthly outgoings, which are obscene. And now you can see why. £100 a month to do some stretches with the heating on. I mean, it is £100 a month. Is
No, I know it's ridiculous.
ridiculous.
No, I know that. I do know that. But I just feel like I do nothing else. That's literally my thing. That's my hobby.
You
I
do
don't have
yoga
a
as
gym
well?
member.
Is it all the same
sorry,
thing?
it's all the same. Aye.
£100 for everything.
Yep.
And do you do a class a day?
No, I don't do as many.
How many
as
classes
that.
a week?
I do at least 4.
So 16 a month, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, it'd be slightly more than that. I'd say 17 a month, but 16 a month.
And it's £18 for an individual class.
I know, but you're doing the monthly for
Yeah.
unlimited.
Yeah.
So 16 into 100, like £6 a session. Mm-hmm. It works out at.
Not bad.
Which is probably all right, actually.
Yeah. And I don't have a gym membership or that. Like,
Yeah, okay. That's fine. Well, glad we got to the bottom of the bar. I am lambing. I'm full of the cold. We're run down, doing too much, but we love it. Do we?
you?
Do we? No, I don't love it when I have to get up in the morning, but
I know.
it's actually fine getting up. I don't mind so much to get up in the morning because I like the excitement of a new day and catching the sun, getting out as it's so you're making absolute most of your day. It's great.
Yeah.
And especially now when the weather's good, it's magic. It's probably when you get to about this time of the day
You hit a lull.
and it gets warmer. And see when it's really warm and you're shattered.
Just want a nap.
You just want a nap. Your body starts being like, oh, just have a nap.
Yeah.
But of course you can't have a nap because there's too much to do. But that's all good
I remember March
Living the
last
dream.
year. March last year, you were a nightmare.
because there's twiddling my thumbs nothing to do.
Uh-huh.
I know. That's why I thought let's slam
I
a few
know.
in March. But I'm glad we have. The weather's been amazing.
I know it has. It has.
And long may it continue. So, yep, this time next week, we won't still be properly started lambing, but we'll be getting there. Anyway, I hope all you guys have enjoyed that podcast and think how bloody lucky you are that you haven't been hit with Schmallenberg, or if you have, find some strength in hearing Michael's story and that you're not the only one involved in suffering. So thanks for listening again, guys. We'll see you next week.
Mm-hmm. If you would like to send in a question to the podcast.
Oh yes, we have this too. We have a WhatsApp, business WhatsApp thing now that you can send voice notes to. Mm-hmm. So send a voice note with a question. Make it a fun question. Yeah. Or anything really. What is the number, Iona?
It is 07986 909 845.
There you go. Once again.
07986 909 845.
That's the number. Send us your voice notes. Have a laugh with it. We'll play them in the show and answer a few at some point. Anyway, I've been Cammy.
I've been Iona.
And we are all
Fed by farmers.